Hello guys, hola otra vez. He regresado para darles un repaso sobre lección 7. This is a review over chapter 7. Now the themes of chapter 7, as you remember, are la tecnología y la ciencia. So technology and science. Okay. So with this, we're going to be using the past perfect and the pluscuamperfect, el pluscuamperfecto, this big long word to express things that have happened or had happened before something else came along. So first we're going to begin with some vocabulary practice. Here we partner up these definitions with these words. These words are the vocab words. These are their definitions. So, número uno. This is un conocimiento de algo antes desconocido. So something's unknown. That's the knowledge of it, is when it becomes known. So of that would be descubrimiento. Descubrimiento means discovery. So when we discover something, we find out, we know about something unknown. Dos. La palabra secreta para entrar en tu correo electrónico. So here we have email, secret word. Let me think. Password, contraseña. Contraseña means password. 3. El instrumento para poder ver las estrellas de cerca. So you know that these are stars. You're using an instrument to see them close. So that would probably be H, el telescopio. El telescopio. 4. Blank es una criatura que vive en un planeta diferente a la Tierra. Criatura is like a creature that lives on what? A different planet than the Earth. That would be letra E, extraterrestre. E. 5. La fuerza que atrae todo al centro de la Tierra. Something that attracts, it's a force, brings things to the center. It's gravedad or gravity. 6. Analizar o estudiar algo para confirmar si es correcto. Right, so analyze, study, confirm if it is correct. That would be what? The act of comprobar. Comprobar means like to prove something. Okay, so that's a little bit of work on vocabulary, and I really try to stress to all my students that vocabulary is pretty much 90% of the work in learning a language, because grammar is just patterns, but vocab is what will and should take up most of your time in studying. So here with number 2, we're going to be using the past perfect, this tense called el pretérito perfecto. Now, this plus the other tense are what you'd call compound tenses, in which they use two verbs, a form of the verb haber plus another verb in the past participle, right? So here we have five pictures, and we need to describe what's going on or what had happened or what happened using the past perfect, right? We're going to use that past perfect to talk about stuff that had happened, but there's kind of a sense that it happened maybe only a short time ago, right? So this woman, she has answered the phone. So answer is contestar, so we could say ha contestado el teléfono. So as you see, we took that verb contestar, which means to answer, like to answer the phone, and we put it into that compound tense, the past perfect, by taking a form of haber and the past participle, right? So that's how we got contestado. Okay. So second picture. This guy looks like he's mad at his TV set. We could just keep it simple and say he's gotten mad. Se ha enojado. He's gotten mad. Tres. He's wearing a tie. He's smiling. Maybe he came back from an interview where he has gotten a job. So we could say ha conseguido un puesto de trabajo. He's gotten one. This conseguir verb right here is like to get, to receive, or more to get. So película here, she's coming out of a movie theater, so she's probably seen a movie. So ha visto una película. Okay, so visto comes from ver, but it's one of those irregular participles, right? Like, see if I can put some right here. So visto is visto, and we have from escribir, we have escrito, abrir, we have abierto, and there's about a dozen of them that you have to remember have these changes, but I'm not going to do them all on this review, just a few so we can move on. Those are some of the irregular participles. Now the last picture, this woman is reading a letter. Here we're being told it's malas noticias, bad news. So she got it by letter. Let's say she's received bad news. So ha recibido malas noticias. Okay. That's pretty much how you do the past perfect. It's she has received, we have done this. It's kind of the equivalent of that in English. Even though I'm not supposed to, as a language teacher, make those equivalencies, it's pretty much that. So activity 3, we're working with that pluscuamperfect, el pluscuamperfecto, right? Now this one is the perfect tense you're going to use when something's already happened before something else came along and happened. So this is, if you were to make a timeline of the past, this would be before, this would be describing, this tense would describe stuff that happened before anything in the other tense, the past perfect. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, let's see. let's see this model. Here we're given these sentences, right? And we have to combine them using the past perfect. So here we have, yo terminé el artículo a las 5. Tú me llamaste a las 5:15, 5:15. Here we're going to put it in the pluscuamperfect with this ya. Ya means already, it already happened when this happened. So we're kind of putting it in kind of an order. So I had already done this when this had happened. Okay? So imagine this había tense, this había terminado tense, this pluscuamperfect coming before anything else in the past, right? And you usually, for the purposes of this test and stuff we're doing in this chapter, going to use this ya, meaning it already happened when this came along, okay? So here, let's look at number 1. Ana patentó su invento en abril. Miguel descubrió la fórmula en junio. Well, these seem like two just completely separate and random events, but we have to connect them together, kind of following this model. We want to say that she had already done this when he had done this. Okay, so Ana ya había patentado su invento cuando Miguel descubrió la fórmula. So in this example, I've taken out the time markers. I took out the abril and the junio to keep it simple and concise, because I'm saying she did this. She had already done this when he did this. So I'm using it to express kind of a general past, like she had done it before he came along and did it. So number 2, nosotros recibimos el mensaje de texto a las 8:15. Anabel llamó a las 9. Again, two events that seem unrelated. We have to put them in kind of an order, with the first being in the pluscuamperfect and the second staying in the preterite. And we're going to get rid of those time markers to make it simpler and more cohesive. So nosotros ya habíamos recibido el mensaje de texto cuando Anabel llamó. So we had already received this text message when she called. Okay, so it's not really important the times. Okay, because with this habíamos recibido, we're already saying that this happened, this had already happened when this happened. Okay, so we're setting up some sort of timeline. 3. Yo estudié informática hace 3 años. Me contrataron en la empresa hace un mes. Again, not really related, but we're going to join them up on kind of a timeline. So, yo ya había estudiado informática cuando me contrataron en la empresa. Well, that's the ideal situation, right? You're already finished what you had already studied. Computer science, information science, when they hired you in the company. Okay, it's the ideal situation. Study first, work last. 4. Yo guardé los documentos por la mañana. Se fue la luz al mediodía. Okay, doesn't seem related, but we're going to join them up on a timeline with this event happening before this event. Both of them are in the past, but we need to put one of these events before the other. I think that makes better sense. We're putting one of these events before the other with the pluscuamperfect. So yo ya había guardado los documentos por la mañana. Oh, I'm not gonna put that. I'm not gonna put the time. Cuando se fue la luz. Okay, so I'd already done this when the light had gone. Maybe you lost your electricity, I don't know. So again, number 5, ellos enviaron todos los mensajes a las 10:05. La batería del celular se gastó a las 10:15. Okay, maybe they're related, probably not, but we're putting them in a timeline where one event, this event right here, it happened before this event, and we're going to do that using the pluscuamperfecto. Ellos ya habían enviado todos los mensajes cuando la batería del celular se gastó. Okay, we're putting in a timeline. Whoops, enviado. So this happened. This had already happened before this came along. Okay. Just highlight it so it's clearer. 6. Tú viste una estrella fugaz a las 5:50. Yo me compré el telescopio a las 6. Okay. So this happened. This had already happened before this. We're putting it in that timeline. So tú ya habías visto una estrella fugaz cuando yo me compré el telescopio. Now, if it's at all confusing why I'm not putting the time, is because when I'm joining these sentences up, I'm constructing a timeline, putting one event before the other. So just know for the test that whenever you use this pluscuamperfecto, this habías visto, habían enviado, había guardado, había estudiado, and so forth, when you use it, you're putting those events also in a timeline that they're past events that occur before other past events. Okay. So, actividad 4, aumentativos y diminutivos. So, this is something particular to Spanish. You're going to use certain endings on nouns to kind of augment or diminish certain words, and it's used more in colloquial speech than it is in writing. So, número uno, una prenda de vestir para dormir. Let's say, shirt, like a sleep shirt, camisa, right? But we want it to be, let's say, aumentativo. So camisa, we could say camisón, Maybe some people call it camisona. But if we want a diminutive, we could say camisita, camisilla, right? There's certain endings that people use to add this special meaning. There's a new song I keep hearing on the radio. It goes despacito. And despacito comes from despacio, but that ito is telling something, yeah, going slowly, but they're really putting, emphasis on that slowly, Usually that ito is adding emphasis. It's being cute. When you add something like ito or ita, you're being cute. Okay, número 2. Una flor pequeña y bonita. Well, a flower, right? But it's pequeña y bonita, right? So if it's little and pretty, it's going to be florecita. So when you have a word that ends in a consonant, you're going to have to add esita, esito on it, You've probably heard words like mujercita, mujer being woman, but to make it a diminutive, you would say mujercita. So this is actually the answer right here, but I would accept any of those. So, 3, un golpe dado con la rodilla. So whenever you hit somebody with something, you add aso to the end of it. Rodillazo, right? If you had done it with your elbow, because your elbow is your codo, it would have been codazo, right? So that aso is going to mean like some big strike happened. Rodillazo. Okay? Mujer muy grande. We had already said that, a little cute young woman is going to be a mujercita, but a mujer muy grande would be mujerona, or it could be mujersota. There's different ways, but the book says mujerona. That ona is also an augmentative. It will augment it, make it seem bigger. Okay, mujerona. 5. Una persona que nunca cambia de opinión. On the book it's cabezón. You could also put that in the feminine. Like what if it's a woman? It'd be cabezona. Could be also cabezota. But truthfully, I hear cabezón and cabezona more for people who are stubborn like that. 6. Una palabra fea y desagradable. That's a bad word. Curse word is a palabrota. Curse words, bad words, palabrotas. And lastly, una luz pequeña. Have lucecita, right? Or lucecilla. To tell the truth, you're gonna see this lucecilla with the ILLA ending more in Spain than you will in the Latin American countries. This will be more what you see and hear in Latin America. Lucecita. So as you know, the Z is a consonant. When you have to add the diminutive or the augmentative, ending to a word that has a consonant, you add ECITA or ECILLA, right? Or it'd be ECITO if the word was masculine, right? But with the Z, whenever you add an E after a Z, either in grammar or when you're making something plural, then it changes to a C. This is just a little idiosyncrasy of Spanish. It has to do with pronunciation, but really the Z sound doesn't really change in pronunciation, neither in Spain or in Latin America, based off of what vowel follows after it. Maybe back in the past, maybe there's some historical study about it, but just know that that's how you do it. And it was supposed to be about pronunciation, but just follow the rules. So the last one is a kind of a reading prompt. This is not the prompt on the test, but this is something you may see. You may see something in this style in which you have to write 5 sentences in response to a prompt. Usually the prompts that you'll see on these tests are easier, and a lot of them draw from the voice boards that you've already done for Chapter 6 and Chapter 7. So I would definitely look over the voice boards and the feedback I provided when I grade them. Not voice boards, I'm so sorry, not voice boards. The discussion boards. Look over the discussion boards and the feedback that I provided when I graded them. Though the voice boards would help too, because especially the one dealing with the future tense, that something like that will be on the test for the Chapter 6 material. So anyway, so here we're speaking about cell phones and etiquette. We've all probably been on a bus or train or wherever, on a plane, and we hear this person talking on their phone for a long time about, whatever. And I'm typically not bothered by that stuff, but I know there are people who are. So give your opinion about what you think the etiquette of that should be. What should be the kind of, general respect you give people in public when you're on your cell phone. So whatever your opinion is, and again, I don't really care what your opinion is, and I'm not being blasé about that, but literally I'm just grading you on vocab and grammar. So you can use the past perfect, right, which is that, I don't remember, he hablado, has tomado, hemos escrito tense, where this becomes a, has, hemos, and then so forth, plus a participle. You can use the pluscuamperfect. I don't even know if that's how you write in English, but you know what I'm talking about. We have había, hablado, habías tomado, habíamos escrito, where this pluscuamperfect is going to be an action that already happened when something else came along. I always kind of give a shortcut to my students saying, think of this había as being like had. This had happened. She had already done this. We had written our reports when the teacher graded them. You know, think of this as being had, and this right here being like have. You know, that's my little shortcut for my students. So, you know, just be able to write sentences using these forms. You may want to use the conditional tense, but it's not required of you because I don't think we have really covered it in detail yet. So you don't, my point is you don't have to just limit yourself to the tenses in the chapter, because everything in Spanish is pretty much cumulative, which, you know, not a lot of students like that, but that's how language learning is, unfortunately. So again, the reminders I gave in the previous video, please complete your chapter 7 and 6 work by June 20th. That's the absolute last and final date for that. It'll help you get ready for this test. Don't forget your proctoring date or place where you're going to go have your proctored midterm exam. Don't forget about it. And don't forget about your supersite activities. They are still due, and supersite is a completion grade, so there's really no reason why you can't just make all 100s. If you do all the assignments, there's just no reason why you can't have a 100 supersite grade on all the chapters. I am waiving the late penalty on the supersite for all activities, and the way I did that was I just changed the due date to June 20th. So everything you can throw at me on June 20th, do. I'm going to grade it all. So good luck on the test. Buena suerte. Of course, you can always email me. You can call me. And honestly, I don't think the test is that hard. It draws a lot from the stuff you've already done, like on discussion boards, voice boards, and quizzes. So again, if you need any questions answered, just call me. So, buena suerte. Hasta la próxima.